Everyone, and welcome to This Week in Redux Conquer. I have a number of changes going on in this patch, and I just wanted to go over them real quickly because I know there's going to be some confusion and there may be some upset people. First things first is that we did find a major damage bug in how weapon skill damage was being dealt. It was most noticeable in things like two-handed weapons where they were just one-shotting absolutely everyone, even if you had no dragon gems. That has been fixed in this patch, but because we know that will heavily impact people who have put a lot of time and effort into their gear, we are working on rebalancing a lot of those skills. So over the next few days, you may notice that weapon skills will be going up and down in terms of power. We're trying to find a good balance point where those skills and those classes will still be very strong and viable without pushing them over the top, so that we can get that bug fixed so that the damage it says it should deal will be a lot more accurate to what's actually happening. We also made an adjustment to Fire Teos. There was an issue where versus high magic resistance targets, such as other Teos or archers, they were dealing a little bit less damage than they should, so that has been changed here. Now that the main issues have been addressed, we also did go ahead and add a gem exchange NPC. Basically, the way this works is you can drop in a unwanted gem. It only accepts refined gems, so for example, a refined killing gem, and it will give you a random gem. In this case, I got a refined tortoise gem, so that is a really, really good trade. I would warn you, though, that it can degrade. There's about a 30% chance that when you give it a refined gem that you no longer want, it will only give you a normal gem. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can consistently exchange either for gems that you actually want, such as dragon gems, tortoise gems, rainbow gems, or it'll degrade it into a normal gem, which you can then use for the Blue Mouse quest. We may attach a small CP cost to using this, just so that people don't spam it. We may also adjust some of the rates for it, but it's something that we do want to add to the game. We think that it would add some value to it. We are probably going to expand some of our storage NPCs, but that will be throughout the week. Next major change that will affect a lot of players is that poison blades no longer trigger on non-targeted skills. So that means things like weapon skills, Hercules, fast blade, scent sword, that sort of thing will not trigger poison blade. It was basically making poison blades a must-use. They're still very strong. You can still poison zap flying archers, Teos, that sort of things, but it's not all of a sudden just going to do double damage when it activates. So those are the main changes for now. We are going to be continuing to adjust this throughout the week and trying to find a good balance point. But I just wanted to go over this so that people understood what actually was changing, so that there was some context to the patch notes when I made them go live. We also are rebalancing all of the one-handed weapon skills, so like axes, daggers, scepters, hammers, hooks, that sort of thing. Just increasing their activation damage so that they're more in line with the bonus damage you would get from using swords. We wanted to do that at the same point while we're tweaking Poison Blade a little bit. That way people don't complain that, oh, well, all of a sudden I had to go sword and then you buffed everything else and I had to switch away from it. No, we're trying to make everything somewhat equal in terms of relative strength, so that way you'll be using things that you actually enjoy. Obviously, certain weapons will have certain advantages, like clubs are still awesome for leveling. Blades and swords are still really, really good because of their range skill, but we want there at least to be some other options. Final thing to mention is that with two-handed skills, we also did fix a bug with the range on arc attacks. So that's like glaive, poleaxe, halberd, that sort of thing. Those were going much farther than they should. We've still buffed them compared to what they were on TQ, but they're a little bit more in line. And at the same time, we also did increase the range on wands so that they're not as useless. Hopefully that helps you guys out, and we'll try and post another one of these next week so you get a good idea of how the balance of the game is changing.